Hello, today we are going to create a feature that allows users to manage their devices. So you will be able to log in from multiple devices, but you should be able to manage all the devices and you can log out any device that you want. So let's get into it. The first thing that we need to create is create a table that will store all the devices of a user. So we are going to run a migration to it. I'm going to open terminal and I need to open the root of my project. So it will be this folder. And I'm going to create a migration. Create user devices table. And now I will open this file. So I will go in my database and in migrations. It will be at the bottom. And here I will have the user ID, which means the ID of the user. And we are going to use it as a foreign key. And it will reference on ID on user table. And we will add cascade on update and on delete. So when user gets deleted, all his devices gets deleted as well. And we will have the name of the device. So user can set the name of his device. Now I will run this migration. So now I will check if the table has been created. So the table has been created. Username ID. Okay. So the next thing we need to do is to show a field on login page. And here we need to show a field that will allow user to enter the name of the device. So I will be entering my email and password and the name of device that I want to set. So I will go in my login.php. And I will simply copy this and name it as enter device name. Type will be text and name will be, let's say, device name, and it will also be a required field. So now I will go in my user controller where I am logging the user. And here I will add another field that is also required, and that is this device name. And we will get the value of it. Now after the user is successfully logged in and his token is generated, we need to insert a new row in user devices table. So we are going to do user devices insert get ID, because we will also need the ID later. And we will set user ID and we will set the name of device that user has selected, and we will save the created at and updated at fields as well. And we will save it as a device ID. So the next thing we need to do is to return this device ID in the response of this API. So I will use device ID. Okay, it will return the device ID. Now we need to store this device ID in user's local storage, because I will be sending this device ID in every API request to validate the user. So in my login, here I am getting the response back. So I will save this user ID, save this in local storage, just like I am saving the user token. So I will name it device ID. Okay, now I will try and test this. First, let me make sure that I do not have device ID in my local storage, but after login, I should have this value. I will set my device name as my home laptop. So after login, I will check again my device ID. It says 1, and I should also have a new row in user devices table. So it is linked to my user, and this is the ID that was returned. Okay, so the next thing is we need to create a custom middleware that will check if the logged-in user is authorized to this device. So for example, I am calling this API me. If I check the route of this, I will go in my api.php. So you can see that I am using auth sanctum middleware, but I need to create a custom middleware for it. So I will create a custom middleware. Make middleware. I will name it as user auth, and now I will go in this middleware. Okay, here I will first get the authenticated user. I will be using sanctum, and first I will check that if the user is logged in. So I will do sanctum check. So if user is not logged in, then I will simply abort the request with 401 error. And if the user is logged in, I will also be getting the device ID in request as well. So I will check if the logged in user has this device in our database. So I will do db table. Let me include db. I will do user devices where ID matches this device ID that is sent by user, and where the user ID matches with the token that he has provided. So this is the logged in user, and we can simply do exist, and I will name it variable like device exist. And if this variable does not exist, then we are simply going to again abort the request. So this is a simple middleware. What we need to do is we need to include this middleware in our api.php file, and we need to use this instead of auth sanctum. So I'm going to use class, and this is the API that I will be calling. So now if I refresh, I will get the 401 error because right now I am not sending the device ID in this request. So you can see that I am getting the 401 unauthorized error. So I need to go in this API and send the device ID that I am saving in my local storage. So I will go in my layouts app, and here I will search for API mail. Here I need to send the phone data. So I will create a phone data. and I will pass the device ID that I am getting from local storage. And you can see that it should work fine now. So you can see that I'm logging now. And in the payload, I am sending the device ID. So if I send the wrong device ID, it will return error. So let's say I am sending to, and now it will again return me 401 error. Okay, so this is working fine. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is when user log out, we should remove this device from his device table. So what we need to do is find the logout function and send the device ID again. So and search for logout, and here I will send the device ID as well. I will create a form get object and pass this form data, and in my logout function, which is in user controller, I will change it to simple. And here when the user's token gets deleted, before that we need to get the device ID first. So I will use this device ID. So here we just need to go in our user devices table, find the device where ID matches, and make sure that the device belongs to the authenticated user, and we are going to delete that. And once the user is logged out, we should be able to remove it from his local storage as well. So we will do local storage dot remove item device ID. So during login we will be saving this device ID on. During logout we should remove this device ID. So now let me test the logout function. So my logout, and now I will check if it exists in my local storage. It says null, which means that it does not exist in my local storage anymore. And in my devices table, this should be removed. Yes, it is removed. So it is fine now. So the next thing we need to do is when user logs in, we should be able to create a page to show him all the devices that where he is logged in, and he should be able to delete the devices as well. So again, I'm going to log in. I will again name it my home laptop. And for testing purpose, I'm going to log in another browser as well. So I'm going to log in with same user, but let's say I'm naming it as my famous laptop. And in Chrome, you will see that my ID is 2, but in Firefox, I should have a different ID. Okay, and now if I check in my database, I will have two devices. So two devices, same user. So I will go in my profile, and in the left sidebar, I need to add another link to show my devices. So I will close all these, and I will go in this profile left menu file, And before change password, I will add another link to, let's say, my devices, and I will rename it to my devices. Now I need to create a route for this. So I will go in my web.php. I will simply copy this to save time. And now I need to create this file, my devices, in my views folder. And I'm going to copy this claim because it will be almost similar to this one till here. And change it to my devices. Okay, now what we need to do is call an AJAX request that will fetch all my devices, and I will display them here. First, I need to check if I have included the React. Okay, so we will be creating a simple React component here. So I will create a div and give it an ID like my devices app, and I will create a script tag, set its type to text label, and I will create a function of my devices, and I will ask it to render it in this div. So inside create root, I will set this div node, and now if I return something like this, then I should be able to see this in my devices section. Okay, so it is working fine. So now I will call a React hook that will be called once, and inside this hook I will call a function that say fetch devices. Now I will create this function. It will be asynchronous, and I will wrap it inside try catch block because I will be using Axios library that might throw an error. So I will use await command Axios get post, and I think I am having a base variable that is the value of my base path. So I will use this append the API, let's say devices fetch, and I need to no form data will be sent here, and I need to send the headers. I need to send the authorization header, and I will be sending my access token header. So I will use local storage that item access token key. So this will be the token that I will be sending. Okay, now I need to create this route in my API.php. I will create it here. We can create a separate controller for this. Let's say device controller, and call a function with say fetch. So we will first create this controller. PHP artisan make controller device controller. Now I will open this, and I must include it in my API as well. So I will simply copy this and replace this. Okay, now I need to create this fetch function inside this device controller, and I will be using the DB query builder. So first I will get the authenticated user, and then I will search in user devices where user ID matches, and I will get all those devices. I will name it as data, and I will create a separate array to map the fields, to map the only fields that I will be needing. So I will loop through this data as I will create a temporary object, and in here I will be using device ID that I will use to log out if user wants, and the name of device, and when the device was created, which means that when user was logged in at that device. So I will push in my array, and I will map it to object. So I will cast it to object, and I will return this array in my response. So the status will be success, and I will have the data as my array. I will save this and test in my network tab. Okay, so it is sending the 401 because again I need to send the device ID here. Okay, so it has returned all the devices that I have been logged in. So what we need to do now is first get the response here. So I will save it in a variable name response, and I will check that the status must be success. So I will do if response.data.status is equal to success, then we will get the data array that we are getting. And this last data means this data array that we are having. So we need to save it in our variable. So I will say, let's say set devices, and this will be our data array that we are getting from API. Now we need to create this state variable in my React component. So it will be devices, set devices, React use state, and the default value will be empty. So what we need to do in my component, that I will create a simple table, and I will have head. I will create a simple row in it, and I will show the device ID and the device name and the time when it was logged in, and an option to delete. And in my T body, I need to loop through all the devices that I'm fetching from database. So I will do devices.map, and in the function I will be use device, and the second parameter will be the index, and it will return the layout that we want to display. We want to display a tr in each iteration, and we need to specify the key because it is required by React, and its value should be unique for each iteration. So I will name it as device and device ID, so it will be unique for each row. And first we need to display device ID, and then we need to display name and when he was logged in, and in the fourth we will be displaying a button to remove the device. So I will name it as logout. Its type should be a button and its class should be danger. Now I will test this. Okay, so it has displayed all my devices with the option to log out. So we can do one more thing is we can show my current device as well. So I should know that I am logged into all these devices, but what is the name of this device that I am logged in? So what we need to do is after the name, we can put a condition that if device ID matches with the one I have in local storage, then I will show the text that me, and I will show it in parentheses. So it is displaying that this is me. But if I check in my Firefox, then it should show me the other device as my device. Okay, so this is working fine. Now I need to add this logout functionality. So when this button is clicked, we will call an Ajax that will remove this device from database, and thus the user will not be able to log in again. And we should also remove this row from UI as well. So what we need to do is we will call a function here. We will get the event in each function. We will call a function, let's say remove device, and we will pass the event and the device ID. We are sending the event because we need to disable this button when the device is getting logged out. So we'll create this function. It will accept event and device ID. I will get the node, and by node I means the logout button, the red button. Okay, here I need to ask for user confirmation. So we will show a pop-up that will ask for yes or no. If user clicks on yes, then we will log out the user because he might accidentally click there and gets logged out. So we will search for suite alert 2. This is the library that I am using, and I will search for this one is for, so I need for someone like 2 buttons only. Okay, so this one will work fine. So I will make this small and change the text. This device will be logged out, and I will say yes to it. And in here I need to call my Ajax. So I will make this function as async, and I will use the same code that I will using on first devices. And in the device ID, I need to send this ID that I am getting from React component, and just change it to simple ID for simplicity. And here I will do delete, so it will delete the device. And here I need to disable the button, so the button gets disabled. I will set its attribute to disable. And when the response is received from server, I will add a finally block, because this will be executed no matter the response of the API. And here I will remove this attribute. So now the button will get enabled again if there is any error in it. And when the response is received from this API, then we need to remove this device from this UI. So we need to update this our state variable. So first we will create a shallow copy of our state variable. So I will name it as temp. And in order to create a shallow copy, we will first convert the array into JSON, and then convert the JSON string back into array. So it will make a shallow copy of that variable. And then I will loop through all this temp variable, and I will check where the ID matches. ID is equal to what we are getting from here, and we need to supplies it, which means we need to delete it. And after all is done, we need to update our state variable, but with this variable. So now our temp variable will have all the devices except for the ID that we have selected, except for the device that we have selected. And one more thing we need to do is we need to pass the device ID as well, because otherwise it will again throw a 401 error. So we will send device ID here. Okay, so now we need to create this API. I'm simply going to copy this and paste here and rename it to delete, and create a function named delete. So here I will create a function, public function delete, and here again we need to get the authenticated user, but this time we need to get the ID as well. So we will be getting the device ID, and what we need to do is simply we need to search in user devices. I will simply copy this till here because is here, and we will add one more filter here where ID matches. So it will search for device ID, but also make sure that the ID belongs to that user. So I should not be able to delete anyone else's device, and I'm simply going to delete that from database, and after that I'm going to return the response back to the client. And I will sending status success, which means that the device has been deleted. So now I will refresh. So in here I am logged in as my home laptop, and in my Firefox I'm logged in as my friend's laptop. I'm refreshing this to test properly. So now I'm going to log out this user, my friend's laptop, from Chrome user. I'm going to log out. It will ask for confirmation. If I do yes, it has removed the row from UI, and if I check from database, then this row should be deleted. Okay, it has been deleted. And now if I try from Firefox, I should be logged out. I will not be able to log in. You can see that I have my username and profile here, but after refresh I should not have this. Okay, so it says that I am logged out. So it is giving me 401 authentication error, which means that I'm no longer logging. But in my Chrome, I'm still logged in. And if I remove this, then I will be logged out as well because this is my Chrome ID. So I'm going to test this log out. Now, if I refresh, then I'm logged out. And now I need to log in again, and my devices are removed. So that's the device management feature that we have created today. I hope that you have learned something in this. And if you need any help, kindly do let me know.